We're here in Philadelphia at Independence Hall. That's where the assassination attempt takes place on the bound shell here. That's what we're filming today. I've been asked to give an assessment on the counter-sniper or the sniper situation in this area.
Shot requires a large caliber weapon. Expect the bullet to be handmade, bronzed alloy, turn on lathe, slightly lower ballistics coefficient, touch more slippery, at least that's what I would do.
We have this huge open area for a shot to be taken through, which is why when we initially came to Philadelphia for the location scout, we decided that this would be the best spot for the flight of the bullet. And what they're going to do is basically paint a picture of a shooting platform off in the distance, which is going to be a church steeple. And that's where our assassin is going to be taking the shot from.
It was always conceived in the script that Independence Hall would be a terrific background for our movie, because it is the kind of seat of the nation and symbolically shows people the concept of liberty and justice for all. Once we decided that Philadelphia would make a perfect backdrop, we had to come here and talk to the Park Service and get their permission. The Park Service here has been terrifically cooperative.
Independence Hall is a national treasure, is a national icon, and with Independence Hall being located in Philadelphia, why wouldn't Hollywood use it in their movies?
In the year 2006, we had a record year for visitors with the brand new Liberty Bell Center. We had over 2 million visitors come, which was the most to visit Philadelphia since the bicentennial in 1976. And those visitors come from around the world.
This is the world-famous Liberty Bell. It was cast here in 1752 and brought over from London and used to hang in the State House behind us, which is now Independence Hall.
If you were around in the 18th century and you worked in the State House, you would listen for this bell, the State House bell, to ring, and you knew it was time to go to work. We have documentation from Benjamin Franklin, who was a member of the Pennsylvania Assembly. He said, "The bell rings, and I must go amongst the grave ones to talk politics."
What you see here, the famous gap, is not the crack. This is actually a repair of the bell. You can see where they drilled into it and widened it out. If you think about it, you have a piece of metal, and it vibrates when it's rung, and if you have two pieces touching each other with a crack in it, they're going to hit, and you're going to change the harmonics, change the sound. So to repair it, they gapped it, they made it wider. That repair worked for about half a day. So for George Washington's birthday in 1846, about 2 weeks after they repaired it, they were ringing it all day. About noon on that day, the tone changed again, and they went up, and a second crack appeared. And that is this crack here. Goes on through the, and it actually splits the RT and Liberty over here and stops about midway over the top. That's the last time that the bell rang.
It's an important symbol to many people for liberty and freedom. During World Wars I and II, the bell would toll 7 times for the 7 letters in liberty over the radio to remind us what soldiers were overseas fighting for. And it continues to remind us what our armed forces are fighting for.
Independence Park is significant because it contains Independence Hall, the place where the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States were both debated and approved. And it really serves as the symbol, if you would, of the birthplace of our country.
The building was originally built as the Pennsylvania State House. They began building it in 1732, which incidentally is the same year that George Washington was born. It was built to serve as the state capital. Once upon a time, Philadelphia was the state capital of Pennsylvania. But it was borrowed by delegates from the 13 colonies because they needed to talk about the problems that we were having with Great Britain. The Declaration of Independence was signed and adopted in the Assembly Room. The U.S. Constitution was signed and adopted in September of 1787 in the Assembly Room. And of course, that's the document we know today that governs us.
We'd like to say that the Constitution was established inside of Independence Hall, but the question is, where do they ultimately test that Constitution? Well, the real testing of that document occurred in Congress Hall. That was the site where the U.S. Congress met from 1790 until the year 1800. There were some major firsts that occurred in this building. While the Congress met in Philadelphia, they accomplished such tasks as overseeing the adoption of the First Amendment to the Constitution. The Bill of Rights was ratified here in 1791. identifying basic liberties and freedoms that we cherish as U.S. citizens. While the Congress met here, they also established the U.S. Mint, which was responsible for establishing a uniform currency for the young nation. Prior to that time, the states were producing their individual currencies. It was also in this building where John Adams was formally inaugurated as the second president of the United States.
Welcome to the Pennsylvania State Courtroom. This is where the State Supreme Court held sessions. The most significant event that happened in this room, though, had nothing to do with the court case. It had to do with what was once above the judge's platform. Obviously, this was an English courtroom once upon a time. We were under English rule. But on July 8th of 1776, the Declaration of Independence was read aloud to the public for the very first time out back of Independence Hall. The crowd was so excited that once they heard this Declaration of Independence, they stormed into this building, came into the courtroom, and tore down that King's coat of arms. They drug it throughout the building, and they burned it at a bonfire. And that was their way of saying, we are free from tyranny. We are Americans.
We have a dual mission, one of being sure to maintain so the future generations will be able to see Independence Hall, be able to come and see the Liberty Bell, but also to help educate people by why these important icons are important to people throughout this country.
The thing about Philadelphia and bringing so many productions here is we're rich in history, which is a great story to share. I think a lot of people like to come back to where the United States began, right here in Philadelphia.
Every time a print is made.
My hope is, as visitors have seen this film, that they will in fact come away with just a deeper desire to come firsthand and see Independence Hall, to see the Liberty Bell, and will come away as better citizens.